Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Tailosive EV live on YouTube. Sorry for no stream yesterday. I've had some family in town, so we're trying to catch up with them. But I did get away just for a few hours to react to the Tesla annual shareholder meeting, the first one ever to be hosted from Giga Texas itself. So a lot of people are speculating on why exactly that is, if Tesla has anything to show us. I'm personally just excited to see the setup, because I'd be kind of shocked if they decided to stream outside, because obviously the outside of the facility is not finished. For those curious, the images in the thumbnail of this stream came from Jeff Roberts. Check out his channel for daily updates of Giga Texas. But yeah, overall, I'm curious to just see the first time Tesla is housing an event, a video broadcast. I guess they had the last earnings call out of Texas, but that's just audio, it's not a visual or anything. So I'm excited to see what it looks like when they're actually taking questions and they're live streaming from inside the facility itself, and why are they doing it at Texas instead of Fremont? And I think most people are speculating, of course, that means Texas is the new official corporate offices for Tesla, as they reported the Q3 production and delivery numbers. They no longer said, from Palo Alto. Now they're saying from Austin, Texas. Do I ever have microphone problems with AirPods? Not yet, although I might run into that later. I've heard a lot of people having AirPod microphone issues, but mine are good so far. Hopefully Tesla has decent microphones for this event, but I've heard someone's telling me on Twitter, who was it, Sawyer? Elon Musk is not the first person to be speaking at this event. I don't even know if he's going to be substantially active, but typically Tesla events are somewhat late. They're typically postponed past their original schedule. So for those curious, the official start time, yes, you will be able to see and hear the event along with me here. I have the whole reaction set up, ready to go, basically. But yeah, investor relations 2021 shareholder meeting. You just go to ir.tesla, and then they have a link to their YouTube channel, basically. 4:30 p.m. Central Time, which is 2:30 p.m. Pacific, as well as 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, that's how you can potentially watch it, in case some of you don't want to watch it along with me. I totally understand because I typically throw in my own comments here and there. Also, I'm doing this entire live stream over Starlink, which is currently in beta. It's been a lot more stable over the last couple weeks. Not too many frame drops, but overall, there are still those times where it gets a little bit choppy, a little bit laggy. So if you want to bring up the stream yourself on your own, you just go to ir.tesla.com and then hit the join now button. It's pretty easy to find. You don't have to be a shareholder to watch the stream, although I don't know why. If you're not a shareholder, why bother? But what time does the share meeting start? Hopefully that answered your question, Cole Crawford. Basically, if things all go according to schedule, it should start in 25 minutes, but this is Tesla, and we're working on Elon time. So highly likely they might be a few minutes late. At least every single Tesla event I've ever reacted to ended up being, 20 to 30 minutes late. So we might be waiting around for a little while. Alex said, "What's up, man? I've been following you for a while now. You're doing a great job." Thank you, Alec. Appreciate that. Nothing wrong with Tesla moving to Texas. I'll allow it. Oh, heck yeah. No, I've got nothing wrong with it either. I want to spend more time in Texas. I've only been there once during a flight layover on my way to Florida. But I would love to see the facility, and the corporate tax rates are much, much better there. So I'm pretty much in favor of them buying land and mass producing vehicles and whatever they can accelerate construction and accelerate development faster, because that's their mission statement, right? Accelerating transition to sustainable energy. So whatever helps them do that, if it's got to be Texas, it's got to be Wisconsin, it's got to be Rhode Island, I don't care. Put the factory where you got to put it to get the best tax breaks and to get that factory up and running as much as possible. Let's see. How has speed been on Starlink? I'm still waiting. Going on a year now. Oh, man, Cole, I'm so sorry. Yeah, the speeds have been, they're very volatile. I don't really do like routine speed tests. I guess I could do one right now. It's probably going to be inaccurate because I'm doing a live stream, so that's impacting the speed a little bit. But yeah, it, for the most part, hasn't been noticeably poor or worse than in the past. It's um, I'm doing like a fast.com speed test right now. It says it typically, yeah, see, like right as I run the speed test, OBS starts freaking out. Right now I'm clocking 80 down, but it depends a lot on the connection to the closest satellite, which is like always changing for Starlink. So 1 second you'll do a speed test and you'll get like 80 down, which is what I just got. And then a minute later you'll do another speed test and it's 250 down. It just goes all over the place. Starlink has a speed test on the Starlink app. Yeah, I've used that as well. I just don't like that Tesla wants to dodge taxes while taking government handouts when they are struggling. Well, I don't blame anybody for wanting to dodge taxes as long as it's legal. If you can do it in a way that is not unethical. Like, they're not breaking any laws. They're just wanting to build a facility that's going to allow them to ramp their vehicles faster and build their vehicles more affordably, better than another state. So, you could do that in the Bay Area, and the production will probably take longer, and the profit margins will be lower, and your prices of your vehicles are going to be higher by having to put up with all those taxes. But they accept the government handouts, but they've paid those back with interest. So they do that because the government wanted to invest in more sustainable energy and support businesses that were going to accelerate our transition to sustainable energy. So what they got to do, whatever they got to do to reach their mission. Their mission is not to pay the most amount of taxes. Waiting for the live. Will you play it here or just your reaction? I'm going to play it here. Tesla's played pretty nice with me live streaming earnings calls and events in the past with reactions and that kind of thing. So I'm comfortable showing it. There's always a chance they could decide to copyright block it for some reason and take it down. If that ends up happening, I'll probably just end the stream and start it up again and just not show it. And you'll have to watch my reaction on one screen and the Tesla event on the other screen. But yeah, Tesla is moving. Yeah, this isn't exactly news. Elon Musk said during the height of the pandemic last year that California was being very, very difficult for them to work with in regards to mass production at their factory. And I think the primary reason Elon was frustrated was because there were all these other places being allowed to open up, and then there was unelected health officials telling Tesla that they couldn't open up, even though they were going to take all the proper precautions, and they had a factory like in China that was handling the virus okay, and they were taking the right steps to ensure that everybody would be safe and healthy, and they were still not allowed to open. So there's just been a lot of California officials that were pretty anti-Tesla, so they were like, okay, well, if people don't want us here and they're going to be hard on us, then let's go somewhere better. Plus, Elon is spending a lot of time in Starbase, Texas anyway, so it probably makes more sense for him to have a corporate office / built from the ground up facility. They never really built the Fremont factory. That was bought out from, I forget, is it Toyota? Basically, Legacy Auto had a factory that Tesla bought out, and that's why we suffer from a lot of the quality control issues from Fremont, is because that factory is not streamlined for EV production, whereas we don't hear about those quality control problems over in Shanghai because that factory was built from the ground up just to produce electric vehicles and nothing else. So I have a feeling it's going to be a similar story with Texas. And there's a large number of benefits, including lower corporate taxes and huge county tax breaks. But it makes sense that businesses and also government officials and city governments and state governments, they want to incentivize factories to be built in their state because that's good for their economy. That means more jobs. That means more growth. When you have billion-dollar companies putting their factory lines and putting their corporate offices in your town, that's going to bring a lot of people. Tons of people are going to end up moving there. So there's a lot of incentive for the governments in the districts to provide tax breaks and to provide tax cuts for any major company willing to build stuff there. That's why there was a lot of competition from Tulsa, Oklahoma. They were really, really passionate. They were hoping Tesla would build their factory there, and they were offering certain advantages. So it's not an all one-sided thing. We benefit a lot from where these companies decide to build their factories. Do you think Tesla will / should build a couple more U.S. factories to connect them all within the range of their semi? to build a couple more. Well, obviously, I'm all in favor of them building more factories. I think their primary focus right now is finishing the factories they are building. I think that probably a ton of people think it's more think it's more simple to build factories than it really is. I think there's a lot more complexities when it comes to supply chains and resources that are available in certain areas, and also how many people you can hire. There's like a massive shortage of labor right now, where a lot of companies are looking to hire more people, and Tesla's hiring like crazy right now. They're all over their website posting these new job applications of where they want people to work and, what kind of positions they want filled. So your company can only do so much at one time. So we may think, okay, yeah, they got a construction crew working in Germany and they got a construction crew working in Texas. Why don't they have other construction crews going on the East Coast and in Washington or Montana? Why don't we put all these factories everywhere? It's like you're going to have staff and corporate overseeing all of these things. Only so many people can be able to control and watch over all the construction processes and the permits that need to take place. So I think 2 factories is a lot on their plate as is, which is partially why I'm very excited for this event today, because it's the first live broadcast from Giga Texas, their new U.S.-based factory, and it looks massive. I've been keeping up with Jeff Roberts' videos on the construction process. Do you think that we will get new gigafactories announced? I feel like there's not really a point in announcing new gigafactories until the current ones that have been under construction for years are done. So maybe it makes more sense to announce that next year, but it's kind of getting ahead of itself a little bit. So like, obviously if they do have a factory picked out, that's fine. I'm not against it, but I'm guessing there's only like so many cooks in the kitchen, or basically there's only so many things a company can do simultaneously. If you think about Tesla's busy with ramping their production in Fremont, working on 4680s on Cato Road, and they're also trying to drastically ramp the production of the Model 3 and Model Y over in China, and Tesla China has become this massive export hub. So all the Teslas that go to Australia or Europe, those all have to be exported, and the logistics of figuring all of those delivery processes out have to be done. So on top of that, you're trying to rapidly construct and build your Texas facility, your Germany facility, and they have this Giga Berlin fair thing going on where they're going to have an event for the in a tour for the grand opening of Giga Berlin, and they've got the shareholder meeting. So there's only so much they can do at once. It might not be that easy to be like, okay, we picked another factory. We're going to pick 5 factories simultaneously and build all of them. So I'm guessing that right now with the corporate offices getting Texas and Berlin operational, that was the main goal. Let's see. Material costs are also stupid expensive. Everything's getting very expensive right now. Yes. Let's say he did say COVID would be gone by April. Yeah, I mean, if we go back in time, I'm sure we've all said things that didn't end up being true. Elon clearly is a very, very optimistic person, and he thought that the pandemic would not be as big an issue as it was. But I think a lot of people were saying that at the time. But he also thought that they would have crewed SpaceX missions in 2018, and he thought that they would have a self-driving vehicle that could go coast to coast by the end of 2017. Yeah, he's a very overly optimistic person who thinks things are much closer than they really are. But I don't think you would achieve what Elon has achieved if you were a pessimistic person that thought all of those things were too crazy. If you were a pessimistic, cynical person, you probably wouldn't even attempt to make level 5 autonomous driving vehicles, and you wouldn't attempt to make rapidly reusable rockets because you'd say, no, that's impossible, that's far too complicated, how could that ever be done? You need kind of an overly optimistic personality. You need someone who can see a clear roadmap and has a vision of how the impossible can be achieved. Someone who could say, yeah, I think we can do that. 500,000 vehicles by 2020. I think that's possible. When Elon first said that way back in 2014, everyone thought he was crazy. They were like, what are you talking about? How the heck would you be able to produce that many electric vehicles in that short amount of time? And that ended up being true. So yeah, I'm not going to be the guy that says Elon's always right. I will certainly say don't bet money against Elon Musk. A lot of people, whenever I doubt a claim or a timeline Elon makes or Tesla makes, I'll get comments in response of people saying, don't bet against Elon, Drew. And it's like, I'm not betting against him. I'm just predicting that timeline isn't going to happen. I wouldn't like short a position of anything, really. I think short selling's stupid. But yeah, definitely don't bet money that someone would fail. Definitely not Elon Musk. But yeah, all kinds of things that he's achieved would not have been achieved had he have been a pessimistic, realistic, like, no, there's that technology doesn't exist. It's too complicated. So, like, it's a blessing and a curse. We have to deal with the overly optimistic timelines, and we have to deal with the unrealistic expectations of Elon saying, yeah, we'll probably release this car for this much, and yeah, this Tesla Semi will be in production by 2019. You know, that's what you put up with when you have someone that works as hard as he does and accomplishes as much as he does, because it's very easy for us to sit on the sidelines and point and laugh at, see, that didn't happen, but what have we accomplished ourselves, right? Like, compared to what he has accomplished, both with SpaceX and Tesla, all kinds of miraculous things that I don't think anybody can really say that they've made as big an impact as he has. Aside from Tesla, I saw my first ever electric pickup truck. It was a blue Rivian. I sent you a DM on Twitter about it. Oh my God, so many DMs. Okay, let me look around. What is it? Shot on 13 Pro Max. Oh, cool. I'm finding your pictures now. Can I share them with everybody? Too late. I'm already doing it. Check it out. He saw a Rivian driving around. Probably an employee owned one. Wonder when this was taking. Oh, this was a few weeks ago, yeah. I haven't seen Rivian brag about official deliveries beginning yet, so I'm not really sure what that's about. It's not so much that the tech doesn't exist, and it has a lot more to do with implementation. Prime example being FSD limitations that are encountered. Okay, well, that's fair. People are saying it's on. I'm not sure what they mean by that. Let me mute this because it's probably going to be playing music. Yeah. Okay, the live stream has technically started, but it's not making any noise. It's actually kind of shaky for some reason. The text is going up and down. Oh, now it's playing music. Okay, I got to mute that. When they start talking, I will unmute it, but yeah, they got their beats slapping. They got some tunes playing already. Cool. So yeah, the live stream is technically up, but I don't think they're going to start announcing anything until 2:30. Probably not till later. But yeah, no, there's a lot of technology. I mean, it's a fine line between doesn't exist and needs to be implemented correctly. You know, like the light bulb. That was combining a lot of materials that already existed. Edison didn't invent glass, but he used glass, and it's like that proper combination of materials that allowed for the light bulb to exist. And, you know, Nikola Tesla didn't invent copper wire. You know, it's a certain implementation of magnets in those wires and those getting those electrons to spin in the right way. So that's kind of what new technology is to a certain extent, is finding the right combination of materials, and whether or not the tech exists is kind of up for debate. But yeah, like I just remember a lot of people not really thinking that rapidly reusable rockets that could land up on their tails like that was anywhere near possible. And now that's become extremely common and just like everyday thing now. People aren't even shocked by it. And electric vehicles obviously have existed for decades and decades, but in the implementation that Tesla has packaged them in, that's more relatively new. You know, like 10 years ago in 2011, you could not buy an electric vehicle for under $100,000 that could go over 200 miles on a charge. Now you can buy an electric vehicle for $40,000 that goes well over 200 miles on a charge. And you can basically take it wherever you want, thanks to the rapidly expanding supercharging network. So I would argue that, yeah, there's a lot of technology in that regard that didn't really exist. Technically, the elements and the atoms and the materials existed, but they were implemented in the right way now, to the point where we can have high cycle life, long range EVs that can quick charge pretty much anywhere as long as you've got electricity. Who's ready to invest in Toyota's hydrogen future? Oh, God. I can't believe there's still people that fall for that. Not really a fan of the front in person. Oh, of the Rivian? I like it. I don't have any issue with it personally. I don't know. I don't know why people get so picky about like pickup truck designs, because I feel like all pickup trucks basically look the same as is. They're all kind of ugly in their own way. I would kind of describe the Cybertruck as somewhat beautifully ugly. There's certain vehicles that are very iconic and recognizable, but incredibly ugly. It's not about a practical utility vehicle is not about looking good. So, yeah. They should be starting in 10 minutes. Right now they're just playing music. I got the live stream running here. What's the resolution at? Ooh, thank you, Tesla. They're streaming at 1080 at 60. I'm a fan of that. Thank you. Unfortunately, this stream is not 1080 at 60. I had that turned off for the podcast recording, but yeah, if there's the occasional lag because I'm on Starlink, you can find the live stream. Actually, I'll just post it in the chat. I think I can. Let me try that. Wow, 5,000 people watching, but comments are turned off. No, that's it's not Tesla. It's just a fan account. You guys are so gullible. My goodness. Do you think Tesla should be allowed to become a monopoly? I don't think anyone should be allowed to become a monopoly. I just don't think they're anywhere close to becoming one. There's certain demographics. I think people are quick to call a lot of things monopoly. But to me, a monopoly is when there's no competition, and I think we're very, very far from that point. There's plenty of alternatives in competition. Maybe we get to a point if legacy, I don't know. I just don't see governments letting legacy auto die off like that. They'll bail out all the legacy auto companies, and they'll fund them even if they're poor at maintaining their money. Like I don't see a situation where all other automakers go bankrupt and Tesla is the only one. In that case, maybe we could start arguing that they're a monopoly, but we're very, very far away from that point, especially with our current administration. Yeah. Thanks for being awesome. You're welcome, Ethan. Thanks for watching. I have a coworker that invested in SHIB $300 and it jumped to $1,000 yesterday, and it's only 3 months in. Well, yeah, individually it's much smaller than that, but I'm hearing more about SHIB, but you always find out about it when it's too late, right? I'm the guy who bought Arcimoto shares at $1. Unfortunately, only 10 shares. Ooh, Giovanni, what an investment. That's some big Warren Buffett moves right there. $10. That's my stake. Derek says, Cybertruck is beautiful in the same way that the iPhone 13's fat butt is function over form, stovetop camera. Well, yeah, that's not exactly new, but yeah, I'm going to spend most of my time in the vehicle, not looking at the vehicle, so who cares what it looks like, honestly, as long as you've got the utility. I just think there's going to probably be a lot of first mover advantage with the Rivian and the F-150 Lightning, because I'm pretty confident those are going to come out first. I still think the Cybertruck is going to beat them all in terms of specifications, range, value, weight, and charging, and it's going to be the best one. But there's still, I know of a lot of people that are just like, I really need an electric truck. I need one now. Like, I want one yesterday. And once an electric truck is available and like available to order, and you know that deliveries are not that far away, it's going to be very, very tempting for people compared to just waiting indefinitely for the Cybertruck. Because particularly with Tesla, you guys know I'm a huge fan of them, and I love the brand, and they're definitely my dream vehicle. But you got to admit that their timelines are very confusing and hard to follow sometimes, and it's pretty baseless promises whenever we hear, Tesla Semi coming 2019, and now we're hearing delayed till 2022, and the Roadster's coming in 2020, and now we're like, okay, if there's no problems, maybe the Roadster will come out in 2023, and Cybertruck end of 2021, and now we're like, maybe end of 2022, so it just keeps getting pushed back further and further and further. Let's see. Do we know anything about the quad coming soon? Not much, but they did file a trademark for the logo of Cyberquad. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's entering production or close to production or anything like that, but it at least shows that the legal team wants to protect the term Cyberquad, and they want to have that registered under their domain. So all we know about the quad is that it's Tesla's number one priority. We hit 800. Yeah, briefly today. I don't think it's 800 anymore. Yeah, it looks like it's back to 793. Yeah, it shut up for some reason. I wasn't exactly sure why, but how long before we see a Cybertruck price hike? Just can't stay as the cheapest vehicle in Tesla's lineup. I don't think it'll ever be the cheapest vehicle in the lineup. I think the prices on the website are just dated, and there's still, despite how many times I keep saying this, there's still a ton of people out there that think that Tesla has to deliver the Cybertruck for the people who have reserved one at the price point that was on the website. They do not have to do that. It is very clear in the Cybertruck pre-order terms and conditions that they can change the final price of the vehicle. The prices they unveiled at the unveiling are estimates. They're aspirational. I have a whole video planned about that because I think there's too many people misunderstanding. But yeah, the Cybertruck, I have basically, like, I'm 99% convinced it will never sell for $39,000. That's not going to happen. Because of inflation, for one. Inflation is a lot higher and accelerated a lot more than Tesla probably thought it would at the end of 2019. And as we see what Tesla does with their current vehicles, they will raise prices a lot based on demand. If they've got too much demand, they will just up the prices to try to get people to stop ordering it. So I wish they would update the website with more realistic numbers, because I know that those prices they have on the Cybertruck page right now are not accurate. That's definitely not what they're going to be willing to sell them for. Because they're going to be so massively back-ordered, I would not be shocked if the truck ends up being $5,000 to $10,000 more. Yeah, they do have, legally, they do have to honor the FSD price. If you go through the... do I have time to go through it here? We got 4 minutes, I guess. If you have time to ever go through, I'll tell you where I heard this information. It's not like I have a special source or anything. I just freaking read the contracts that most people overlook. Let's say you wanted to order a Cybertruck. Down here, selecting full self-driving today will secure your price as it increases over the future. So if you hit learn more... oh, wait. Where's the option? Does it have a terms and... Oh, yeah, here it is. Cybertruck pre-order agreement. You have to hit the order button first, and then you have a drop-down menu, and then it takes you to this thing. So if you read through this PDF, the pre-order price of the vehicle will be confirmed in your vehicle configuration and final price sheet, as you may have only configured part of your vehicle. Any pre-order price provided to you in advance of the final price sheet is only being offered to you as an estimate and is subject to change. It's right there. It's like in the second paragraph. So it's very clear that that is not a final price at all. I can make that text bigger. Let me make sure. Okay, yeah. It's not started yet. But I keep trying to remind people of that because I see it in comment sections all over the place, and I see it in forums. There's so many people that seem to think that because they ordered their truck, that means that Tesla has to honor the $39,000 price point. They do not. They can change it to anything they want, technically. I think they would get a lot of backlash, obviously, if the price ends up being substantially more. But I think it's perfectly understandable considering the insane demand. Oh, there's captions from the live stream saying we're going to start in about 3 minutes. So we're getting close here. But yeah, it's definitely, they do not have to honor that original pricing other than the full self-driving thing. If you ordered it with full self-driving, they will honor that, but nothing else, essentially. All right. So now, hopefully, you guys are in the loop. Where's something I can put the chat on? Maybe my iPad or my phone. That might work. Okay, 2 minutes to go if Tesla is on schedule. Oh, they did make the live stream public. Okay, so if you're subscribed to Tesla's YouTube channel, this should be pretty easy. They're live for everybody. That's interesting. I'm not sure how often they do public live streams for the annual meeting of stockholders. Cool. No, don't move. Why is it pausing? Don't do that. Come on. All right. I would like to hear it. Let me get this situated correctly here. 1 second. Oh, there we go. I can hear it now. That's better. Now... it's just streaming music right now, and I don't want to get copyright claimed, so I could probably make my face a little lower. And make this larger. There we go. Cool. We good. Like so. Ta-da. Hopefully they actually have something to announce here. I know that they're going to answer a few questions, which I'm interested in. Let's see. Demand for Cybertruck is what? Like 500,000 a year. Tesla will not hit that number anytime soon. Yeah, it's kind of hard to predict. Oh, here it is. We're starting. Oh, let me make sure this is on the right thing. Oh, it's really quiet for some reason. Hold on. They're very quiet.
There will be two parts of today's meeting. First, the formal part of the meeting will cover the 9 items that stockholders have.
I'm turning up everything as loud as I can, and it's really quiet.
Voting, I will introduce Tesla's co-founder and CEO Elon Musk.
No, I need to see OBS.
At this time, I'd like to thank the members of the Tesla team and board who are here with us today. A representative from PricewaterhouseCoopers, Tesla's independent auditor, is present on the phone with us as well. But before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to Robin Denholm, the chair of Tesla's board, who would like to say a few words.
They were on time. Holy crap! Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm adding filters to OBS right now to try to get the volume higher.
Well, welcome to the 2021 annual shareholders meeting here in virtual form this year. We hope next year that we'll be able to have our regular in-person gathering, just like we have over the last decade. Since we last met as a shareholder group in September of 2020, a lot has happened at Tesla.
We want more?
I want to just recap some of the things that have happened over this last 12 months.
I can give it more.
In the 12 months that ended September of 2021, we've delivered over 800,000 vehicles.
Woo!
We've
Good
also
job.
started new production lines in Shanghai.
It does have
We've
crumple zones.
commenced the
Silly.
pilot production of our own in-house battery cells. And on top of that, we've constructed 2 new gigafactories on 2 different continents, including the one that we're here today in Texas.
Sweet.
But maybe most importantly, our mission of accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy remains at the center of what we do. Over the last 12 months, Tesla has continued to help shift the public perception of electric vehicles, and it wasn't too long ago that
Yeah,
many
she's not
people
talking
were
into the
still
mic, is she?
questioning the future of EVs. I would say that today that's no longer the case. There is
Agreed.
no doubt that the transition to sustainable transportation and the transportation industry is turning electric.
Yeah.
In many places around the world, you can't drive down the street without seeing many Teslas, which
saw like
to me
5
is an
today.
incredibly proud thing and a testament to our progress.
We saw 5 Model Ys today.
While our performance to date has surpassed many common expectations,
I think they're
we
turning up the
believe
audio.
that we're only at the beginning of what the long journey ahead that we have.
Yeah,
As
I
we
boosted it.
disclosed in our impact report this
I'm at
year,
like 14
by
decibels.
2030, we are aiming to sell 20 million electric vehicles per year and deploy 1,500 gigawatt hours of energy storage per year.
My goodness.
Our mission is clear. The automotive sector and the energy sector have to become fully electric.
They're boosting it now.
There's no question about it.
It's getting much louder
While
for me.
producing and selling 500,000 cars in the last calendar year is more than most expected, we need to continue to grow exponentially to create a true impact for the planet and for our shareholders. I
The stream
also
is, like,
want to
jittery.
acknowledge that Tesla's achievements so far and our future aspirations would simply not be possible without the unrelenting efforts of our amazing employees. Each and every one of them, who globally now number almost 100,000, are doing everything that they can
That's a lot of
every day
employees.
in the
Jeez.
name of our mission. While our investors might recognise a handful of Tesla executives or directors, We know that Tesla's success is due to the creativity, the ingenuity, and the sheer hard work of our tens of thousands of employees globally. As we expand into a truly global manufacturer, we are committed to making sure that we employ, grow, and retain people with a passion for what we do and are aligned with our mission and our values and culture globally.
The original stream's
I
too
also
quiet.
want to acknowledge and thank my fellow Tesla board members who have been unwavering in their commitment to Tesla to help grow, guide, and evolve the company and its governance practices.
It looks so official
And I
in there.
especially want to call out and thank Antonio Gracias, as this will be his last shareholder meeting as a board member after 14 years of unrelenting support and being on the board. He's made a significant part of Tesla's journey and a key member of the board for all of those years. Antonio, we appreciate everything that you've done for the company, and we will miss you.
Good for him.
And lastly, I wanted to say thank you to you, all of our shareholders. You are an intrinsic part of our journey and this unique journey. We're proud to say that our shareholder base is probably the most committed, most active, and most engaged base I've ever seen. Thank you for spreading the word for us, for being with us through our ups and downs, and we wouldn't be here or where we are today without your support, and we are focused on continuing to deliver to our mission and for you for many years to come.
Awesome.
And so now I will hand it over back to Martin, who's the chair of our meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Oh, wow. Look at this ultra-wide. I want to see those machines moving in the background. Let's get this puppy
Robin.
working. Can he talk in the mic?
I will now call meeting to order. Please refer to the meeting agenda that is posted on our virtual meeting site.
Oh, okay.
The time is now 4:36 p.m. Central Time, and I declare that the polls are now open.
The polls. Time to vote, people.
We have already received over the past few weeks voting proxies from our stockholders, meaning that almost all of the votes that will be counted were already submitted before this meeting.
Oh,
However, if you wish to vote your shares or
Hope you
change your
voted,
prior
people.
vote, you may do so through the virtual meeting site. Tesla's board of directors has appointed Computershare Trust Company to serve as an inspector of election for this meeting. Computershare has taken a signed an oath as an inspector of election and has certified that starting on August 26, 2021, the proxy materials or a notice of internet availability of the proxy materials were mailed or provided to all Tesla stockholders of record as of August 9th, 2021.
yeah, they confirmed this is in Texas. We know
We
that.
have a majority of all the outstanding shares represented at the meeting, so I declare that there is a quorum present and that we may proceed with the meeting. The items on the agenda are as follows. Number 1, the election of 2 Class II directors, James Murdoch and Kimball Musk, to serve for a term of 2 years. Number 2, to adopt amendments of our Certificate of Incorporation to reduce director terms to 2 years. Number 3, to adopt amendments to our Certificate of Incorporation and bylaws to eliminate applicable supermajority voting requirements. And number 4, to ratify the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP as Tesla's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year 2021. Tesla's board has recommended that our stockholders vote for each of the director nominees and for proposals 2 and 4.
Well, as long as you say
We have
so.
also received 5 stockholder proposals as described in our proxy statement. I would like to remind our stockholders that Tesla's board has prepared a statement in opposition to each of these proposals, which appeared in our proxy statement. The first stockholder proposal is an advisory vote regarding reduction of director terms to 1 year. Our board has recommended that our stockholders vote against this stockholder proposal. The stockholder proposal is proposed by James McRitchie, who is on the line to present this proposal. Mr. McRitchie, I would like to invite you to speak. You will have 3 minutes.
Yeah, if I make it any louder, it'll start peaking. Right now it's hitting yellow.
Thank you.
when
Can you
guys
hear me?
talking. Let's hear from Richie.
I'm sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
Says
Okay,
nothing.
thank you. Almost 90% T500, Fortune 500 companies, the board, and are widely viewed corporate governance best.
He's peaking.
The annual election of each directors more accountable contribute to improve performance, company value. Here's what a 1 point said when
Against.
they their
I
vote
vote
in
against.
advance. Shareholders should be able to participate in frequent elections of all board members, preferably on an annual basis. This proposal should also be evaluated in the context of Tesla's overall corporate governance.
Yeah, this is in Giga,
Shareholders
Texas.
cannot hold special meetings, act by written consent, nominate directors through proxy access.
Get this man
At our
Starlink.
2020 annual meeting, 56% of shares voted in favor of my advisory proposal eliminating supermajority requirements. The board is now letting you vote to repeal those supermajority requirements through proposal number 4. However, notice the board takes no position on this measure. That probably means Elon Musk and his inner circle are voting against it.
Sounds
Without
like Ross
this
Scott.
measure obtaining a 67% approval rating, neither the board's proposal to move to 2-year terms or mine to move to 1-year terms will pass. This is essentially a way for the board to look like they want to increase the frequency of elections without actually doing it. Our company's technology is second to none. Our company's corporate governance should meet the same high standards. Vote for proposal number 5. Thank you.
No, your phone service sucked.
Thank you,
So
Mr.
I'm not going to
McRitchie.
vote for you.
The second stockholder proposal is an advisory vote regarding additional reporting on diversity and inclusion efforts. Our board has recommended that our stockholders vote against this stockholder proposal. The stockholder proposal by Calvert Research and Management, whose representative Kimberly Stokes is on the line to present the proposal. Ms. Stokes, I would like to invite you to speak. You will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Tesla states in its 2020 Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion report that it is on a mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. We at Calvert Research and Management heartily support this effort and understand how important it is to invest in companies that are leading the charge to a net zero economy. However, we also know that it takes human resources to achieve these goals, and ask Tesla to demonstrate how the company's human capital management strategy, and specifically its diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy, supports the level of innovation and collaboration necessary to achieve this goal. The business case for diversity is clear. Numerous studies demonstrate the benefits of a diverse corporate workforce. These include better financial returns, superior stock performance, and importantly, research shows that diverse and inclusive teams support more innovation. Tesla's 2020 DEI report lacks sufficient quantitative and qualitative information for investors to adequately compare the company's performance over time and relative to peers. What the report does reveal is that Tesla's leadership is 83% male and 59% white, despite having what the company describes as a majority-minority workforce, all at a time in which Tesla's customer base is evolving and growing more diverse. Calvert asks that Tesla's reporting include the process the board follows for assessing the effectiveness of the company's DEI programs and the results of that assessment. We also ask that Tesla disclose its full EEO-1 report, a comprehensive breakdown of Tesla's workforce by race and gender according to 10 employment categories, which is already collected and provided to the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission every year.
We got to look
In
relative
its
to other
DEI
companies
report,
too.
Tesla states, we do the work required to ensure that our culture is as diverse and inclusive as it is collaborative and driven. However, in order to fully understand whether or not Tesla is executing well on its stated strategy, the company must be more transparent about its policies and practices and do the work to provide investors with reliable, consistent, and comparable data that we need to make informed
focusing on
investment
the
decisions.
employee and their
We
experience and what they
acknowledge
know.
that Tesla is committed to integrating DEI reporting into the company's annual impact report, but want the board to understand that Tesla's disclosure lags far behind peers. In 2020, Calvert analyzed the top companies held in our core portfolio. At that time, less than 20% were disclosing EEO-1 data, including Tesla. Following our engagement, 70% of these companies have committed to disclosing their full EEO-1 report on an annual basis. As shareholders, we are concerned that Tesla's lack of focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion could hinder the company's ability to innovate in the future. We urge the board to commit to full disclosure rather than incremental, ineffective action.
They're cutting her off?
Thank you.
They're like,
Thank
too
you,
long.
Ms. Stokes.
3 minutes, 3 minutes.
The third stockholder proposal is an advisory vote regarding reporting on employee arbitration. Our board has recommended that our stockholders vote against this stockholder proposal. This stockholder proposal is proposed by NIA Impact Capital, whose representative, Christine Hall, is on the line to present the proposal. Dr. Hall, I would like to invite you to speak. You will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Hello, this is Kristen Hull. Can you hear me?
No one responds.
I am Dr. Kristen Hull, founder and CEO at NIA Impact Capital. On behalf of NIA and our co-filers, I formally move Proposal 7. This resolution requests that Tesla's board of directors oversee the preparation of a report on the impact of the use of mandatory arbitration on Tesla employees and on its overall workplace culture. Why is this report needed? After this week's headlines and many other employee allegations of racial discrimination, we as investors need a look under the hood. The use of mandatory arbitration limits employees' remedies when it comes to both harassment and discrimination. Precluding employees from suing in court, often keeping underlying facts, misconduct, and case outcomes secret, these clauses may allow harassment and discrimination to continue, hidden from other employees and from investors. Bias, discrimination, and harassment in the workplace create unknown and uncompensated risks for investors, inviting unnecessary legal, brand, financial, and human capital issues to a company.
Elon's tweeting.
On the flip side, the benefits of a positive and inclusive company culture with diverse teams include access to top talent, better understanding of consumer preferences, fewer blind spots when it comes to leadership decisions, more informed strategy discussions, and improved risk management. A diverse workforce and the different perspectives it encourages has also been shown to produce more creative and innovative workplace environments. Of particular relevance to Tesla, research shows a strong link between diversity and revenue from innovation, where companies with above average diversity produce significantly greater revenue from innovative products or services than those with below average diversity. Many technologies with which Tesla may compete for recruitment and hiring, such as Adobe, Airbnb, Google, IBM, Intel, Lyft, Microsoft, Salesforce, and Uber, no longer use these policies. Tesla simply cannot rest on its laurels, assuming its first mover advantage will last. Given the allegations raised by over 100 past employees, these racial slurs, discrimination in promotions, a retaliatory culture, and lack of response from human resources, investors are counting on Tesla to step up and make human capital management a priority. Tesla is a known leader in innovation, and it's time now for Tesla to also lead when it comes to promoting a fair and inclusive workplace. Tesla's board is asked again to complete the requested report to determine if mandatory employee arbitration is in the best interest of Tesla, its employees, and its shareholders. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. The fourth stockholder proposal is an advisory vote regarding assigning responsibility for strategic oversight of human capital management to an independent board-level committee. Our board has recommended that our stockholders vote against this stockholder proposal. This stockholder proposal is proposed by Comptroller of the City of New York, whose representative, Michael Garland, is on the line to present the proposal. Mr. Garland, I would like to invite you to speak. You will have 3 minutes.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Denholm, board members, and fellow shareholders. The New York City pension funds are long-term Tesla shareholders with roughly 1.3 million shares, representing nearly $1 billion of capital at risk.
Wow.
Our proposal calls on the board to assign responsibility for strategic oversight of human capital management to an independent board committee that will, 1, review corporate policies and practices on principles, strategy, and management of workforce-related matters, including those related to addressing workforce equity and inclusion and compensation for employees other than executive officers. 2, oversee the extent to which Tesla's policy, standards, and requirements are applied consistently across its operations. And 3, offer guidance on strategic decisions that may have an impact on the workforce. Investors are increasingly focused on the essential role that effective human capital management plays in creating long-term shareholder value, and to the material risks created by poor human capital management practices, such as those exhibited by Tesla. That 4 of the 5 shareholder proposals at today's meeting focus on worker and human rights should serve as a wake-up call to the board. Under new SEC disclosure rules, companies are expected to include human capital measures and objectives that the company focuses on in managing the business. Many boards, including at Ford and GM, have signaled greater attention to human capital management by defining explicit oversight responsibilities in committee charters. In opposing Proposal 8, the board claims that independent board committees already perform the requested functions. The board highlights the role of its compensation and audit committees play in overseeing workforce management and workforce issues. However, neither the compensation nor the audit committee list these responsibilities in their charters or in the proxy statement. According to its charter, the compensation committee's responsibilities are limited to compensating executive officers and board members and administering the company's employee benefit plans. Finally, in opposing our proposals, the board also asserts that our supporting statement references one-sided allegations from media headlines lacking context and facts, and that we are drawing speculative conclusions from them. Let me now delineate some facts that underscore the need for the requested board responsibilities. In March of this year, the National Labor Relations Board upheld an earlier ruling that Tesla acted unlawfully when it fired a union activist, interrogated and disciplined workers, issued a new restriction in response to workers exercising their labor law rights, and by threatening workers against unionizing via a tweet from CEO Elon Musk. And just this week, a jury ordered Tesla to pay $137 million to a former worker over racist treatment. Unlike other Tesla employees who allege racial discrimination, the plaintiff was exempt from the company's mandatory arbitration policy that is the subject of Proposal 7 and able to pursue his case in federal court.
Yeah, he's going.
Our fundamental concern is that Tesla's weak labor management practices pose material risks to the company's exponential growth. We expect the independent directors we elect to provide the oversight necessary to protect the long-term interests of the company, its employees, and its shareholders. We urge shareholders to vote for Proposal 8.
Thank you, Mr. Garland.
Thank you.
Thank you. The 5th stockholder proposal is an advisory vote regarding additional reporting on human rights. Our board has recommended that our stockholders vote against this stockholder proposal. The stockholder proposal is proposed by Sisters of the Good Shepherd, New York Province, whose representative, Winifred Dorothy, is on the line to present the proposal. Ms. Dorothy, I would like to invite you to speak. You will have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. I am Winifred Doherty, a member of the Sisters of the Good Shepherd, a global international congregation of Catholic sisters and partners in mission. Today, I represent the Sisters of Good Shepherd, New York, as shareholders, and the project participants of Bon Pasteur in the cobalt mines around Kolwezi in the Democratic Republic of Congo. A similar human rights proposal filed by the sisters received nearly 25% investor support last year. And we again urge all Tesla shareholders to support Proposal 9, which requests that the Board of Directors commission an independent third-party report assessing the extent to which Tesla is effectively fulfilling its responsibilities in respect to human rights and engagement in responsible sourcing practices. Today, I challenge the Tesla board and shareholders to apply the same efficacy, efficiency, and high quality standards to the supply chain, from source to factory to showrooms, where Tesla's ingenuity and creativity excel in its latest models, which delight the consumer. 2021 is the International Year for the Eradication of Child Labour. The UN Agenda for Sustainable Development seeks to end child labour in all its forms by 2025.
That's what iron phosphate's for.
Under the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights, Tesla has a responsibility to respect human rights within company-owned operations and through their business relationships, including suppliers. Pope Francis, in May 2019, urged that mining be at the service of the human person and their inalienable fundamental human rights, not vice versa. Having human rights compliance at the center of your activities, we ask that you acknowledge the harm done to people and planet through your current current organizational model, and recognize that today's world urgently needs social and environmental sustainability, demanding a balance of economic growth and holistic well-being of people and planet. We invite you to join initiatives to advocate for better regulation and a just enforcement of existing laws by all duty bearers. Ensure all supply chains are ethical with zero tolerance of child labour. Implement just working conditions, safety, fair wages and hours for each and every person within the company. Support with funding local initiatives that promote a sustainable and diversified economic development at the upstream of the supply chain.
Tesla is against having
and finally,
fair pay.
complete the final rights assessment requested by Proposal 9. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dorothy.
Tesla's bad for the environment?
Please note that this is the final opportunity to submit any proxies for them to be counted.
All right. This is it. Make your votes,
I declare
people.
the polls are now closed.
Okay. Hope you
Based on the proxies that we have previously received, I'd like to announce on a preliminary basis that our stockholders have approved the recommendations of the Tesla board on all agenda items except item 2 regarding the reduction of director terms to 2 years, item 5 for an advisory vote regarding the reduction of director terms to 1 year, and item 6 for an advisory vote regarding additional reporting on diversity and inclusion efforts. While over 99% of shares present are entitled to vote on item 2, did so as recommended by the board, unfortunately less than 66.7% of our total outstanding shares, which were required to approve this item, submitted votes for this item. After the final tabulation is completed, we will formally announce the results of the voting by filing a Form 8K within 4 business days of today's meeting.
Okay, next week.
That concludes the official business of today's shareholder meeting, which is now adjourned.
Adjourned? Is that all we're doing?
Okay.
Oh, we will now move.
We will now move into company's update presentation by Elon.
Yay.
Please go to the website www.tesla.com/2021 shareholder meeting in order to watch the presentation. During the course of the following session, we may discuss our business outlook and make other forward-looking statements. Such statements are predictions based on our current expectations. Actual events or results could differ materially due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those disclosed in our most recent Form 10-Q filed with the SEC. Such forward-looking statements represent our view as of today, should not be relied on then after, and as we disclaim any obligation to update them after today. With that, please welcome Elon Musk.
Here we go. Commander-in-Chief. Get off the phone, Elon. Now for the fun part, as Sawyer Merritt just tweeted. Oh. We're going somewhere else? Are they going to show a different part of the factory or something? We got the voting out of the way. Sounds like most of the proposals went through, which most of them sounded pretty good. Yeah, what's going on now? Yeah, I think that my issue with the phrasing of a lot of the proposals is they're believing Tesla somehow wants the exact opposite. No, we're in favor of bad conditions, no diversity. Like, that's not the case. It's just the matter of achieving those things.
All right, welcome to the annual shareholder meeting. Coming to you live from Austin, Texas. So,
nice.
We've had a fantastic year, thanks to the great work of the Tesla team. I'd just like to start off by just thanking the Tesla team for the incredible work over the past year to get where we are. Well done.
Yeah. Round of applause for everybody. Look at that factory. It's looking good.
So we have record vehicle deliveries, as we've already reported this.
Wow.
But you can see that there's a pretty...
Dang. 5 record quarters in a row.
Might be the fastest that any large manufactured object has grown. Like,
wow.
Yeah, certainly one of the fastest, perhaps the fastest. It looks like we have a good chance of maintaining that into the future, really dependent on supplier challenges. So if we can get the chips, we can do it.
Please, chip makers.
Hopefully this chip shortage will alleviate soon, but I feel confident of being able to maintain something like this, at least above 50% for quite a while. The Model 3 became the best-selling premium vehicle globally. So of any premium vehicle.
That's how they grow with the chip shortage. Imagine without the chip shortage.
I mean, I almost got arrested at one point for claiming that we'd do 5,000 a week, literally.
Arrest that man.
You're laughing now. Anyway, this is great. We think the Model Y will be the best-selling vehicle of any kind globally. So we think it will exceed the Model 3. I think we've got a good chance of it being the best-selling vehicle by revenue next year, and then I think quite likely to be the best-selling vehicle in just of any kind numerically in 2023.
That's incredible.
Basically, we need Austin to get online and Berlin to get online and reach volume production, and then I think that's going to happen.
Is that happening? Tell us.
In terms of free cash flow generation,
wow.
Obviously we had some tough years back then.
Yeah,
things were looking a little dicey, to say the least, in 2017 and 2018. Don't want to go back there again. But we got through that, and now things are looking really good. So I think we'll see continued strong cash flow generation, and especially as you multiply unit volume times autonomy and increased efficiency in the factories. Because I think over time you'll see all manufacturers will make electric vehicles, and eventually all manufacturers will make autonomous vehicles. And I think Tesla's open to licensing autonomy, because I think autonomy will be such a significant lifesaver and preventer of injuries that it is not a technology we want to keep to ourselves. So I think it will be morally right to license it to other manufacturers if they would like to use it. So.
I still want to license Autopilot. I wonder if Elon slept there. Where's Elon's bedroom?
And of course, we made a lot of progress on cost reduction. And so despite our average selling price actually going down significantly, because with the introduction of the Model 3 and Model Y, these were much lower priced cars, we've managed to still do decently well on gross margin. So this is, getting the average price down and gross margin up is very difficult, but we've managed to do that. So yeah, it's good. Our goal really is to make the cars as affordable as possible.
It's going in the opposite way.
Significant cost pressure in our supply chain.
Yeah.
So we've had to increase vehicle prices, at least temporarily, but we do hope to actually reduce the prices over time and make them more affordable.
Okay. Here's hoping they come back.
We've just expedited. The sheer amount of money we're spending on flying parts around the world is just not great, but hopefully temporary. So, and we need a lot of batteries. Hence, Battery Day is what this shirt means. Very obtuse. But we are going to need a lot of batteries, and this is going to be a combination of batteries from our suppliers. And in supplier discussions, some of our suppliers have just asked me outright, are we going to just, put them out of business or something? I'm like, not at all. As many cells as you want to make and supply to us at an affordable price, we will buy. No limit. I'm like, oh, okay. So do you want to increase by 100%? Sounds good to me. So the basic plan is we're really going to order a lot of, and we have ordered a lot of batteries from suppliers. Basically telling suppliers literally go as much as you can make, we'll take. And
CATL especially.
We'll prioritize batteries for vehicles, but then use any excess cells that we have in the Powerwall and Megapack. Because over time, we think the demand for stationary storage is going to be at least as high as the demand for vehicles. So sustainable energy, primarily solar and wind, is intermittent. And so the wind doesn't blow all the time, the sun doesn't shine all the time, obviously. And so you need batteries to buffer that power. So the fundamental pillars of a sustainable energy future are basically solar and wind. Those are the primary. Stationary batteries and electric transport. And if you have those three, then you have a sustainable energy future as long as the sun is shining. So sometimes people ask me about fusion, and I like it as an idea. And by the way, I think it's totally doable. But there's a giant fusion reactor in the sky that shows up every morning, and zero maintenance. So I'm like, sounds like a good deal, Or just catch a little bit of that sunlight and power Earth.
Call it a day.
A shockingly small amount of land is needed to power Earth. It's like, a couple hundred miles by a couple hundred miles of solar panels will power the entire United States. So it's like, okay, it's not that hard. And then
just make
I believe
them.
We calculated you only needed 1 square mile of batteries. So you may think like, wow, a lot of batteries. 1 square mile of batteries. It's not that crazy. So anyway,
that's a lot of batteries, though.
So we've got a plan to reduce the cost per kilowatt hour of batteries.
Light mode of this chart.
And our suppliers, have similar plans. So
good.
This is really supplemental to our suppliers. We'll make cells, they'll make cells, we'll use them all. The fundamental good of Tesla, I think, is by how many years did we accelerate sustainable energy? This is the fundamental, I think, way to think of the value of Tesla. And so if we are able to accelerate sustainable energy by more years, that is good. Hence the need to grow quickly. We've got 3 new factories. Giga Shanghai has done an incredible job.
Wow, look at Texas.
And Giga Shanghai now exceeds Fremont in production. So,
oh, really?
Actually, I'd like to just give a special hand to our Tesla China team. Like,
Shanghai is exceeding Fremont. I didn't hear that. That's incredible.
So it's the best quality, lowest cost, and also low drama. So it's great.
Low drama factory. Thank you.
And but that said, we are continuing to expand our Fremont operations and expect to hopefully increase Fremont output by 50%. So,
whoa.
And that's still where we make all Model S and X's are made in Fremont.
They want to go 50% from Fremont?
It kind of makes sense, especially for the high volume vehicles, to have production that's at least on the continent where the consumers are.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's also not good for the environment to be shipping cars, several thousand miles. So
that's fair.
The basic idea is have the high volume vehicles be where the customers are, approximately at least. And then also great progress with building Giga Texas, which is where we are right now, and Giga Berlin-Brandenburg. So just a hand for those teams as well. These factories will have cell production in them as well. So this will be really kind of raw materials in, cars out. So really, really big.
But when, Elon?
Yeah.
Tell us.
I mean, these things will be in like units of Pentagon, basically.
Units of Pentagon?
Let's see. So impact report. There's a lot of, I think, interesting stuff in our impact report. We go into quite a lot of detail on all the things we're doing. And Tesla is certainly a company that tries very hard to do the right thing in all respects. We try very hard to do the right thing in all respects. We don't always succeed. But if you're looking for a company where you say, is that company really trying to do the right thing? That is Tesla. Okay, we really try. Okay, I mean,
I'm sorry. Elon laughing to himself is hilarious. We really try.
So, as I was mentioning, we've got the 3 parts of sustainable energy future.
Yeah, the stream is bouncing
solar and
on
wind.
their end. That's
I think
not
primarily
me.
solar will be the main source of energy, of sustainable energy, and energy in general. And then you need to store that energy with stationary battery packs, and then you need
LFP,
electric vehicles, and electric airplanes and boats and whatnot.
Wow.
So
he's still doubling down on the planes.
That's right.
He wants to do a jet.
Yeah, and then the average life cycle emissions in the U.S. This is only going to get better as we move to a sustainable energy grid and electric vehicles. Then obviously we move to a fully sustainable energy economy, which is where we want to get to as quickly as possible. The sooner the better.
Beautiful.
And can there
69
be a carbon tax?
tons.
I mean, what the hell, So people sometimes say like, oh, carbon tax, that would benefit Tesla. I'm like, yeah, but it would hurt SpaceX. So how about the carbon tax?
There you go.
It's really needed.
Elon's encouraging more taxes on carbon.
See, battery materials are definitely uncyclable. Burden gas is not. CO2 is an extremely stable molecule. Mars's atmosphere has been primarily CO2 for billions of years. It's extremely stable.
We're on Mars already.
So sometimes people worry about methane. Do not worry too much about methane. Methane quickly breaks down into CO2. Methane is not a stable molecule. CO2 is extremely stable. And of course, you can recycle battery materials. So you can think of batteries as essentially high-grade ore. So you can either get your lithium and your nickel and the various constituents of the battery from rocks or from batteries. It's much better to get them from batteries. So batteries are basically high-grade ore, and
like redwood
Tesla's
materials.
already started recycling, and there are lots of companies that are going to do recycling because it basically pays to do recycling for batteries.
There will be tons of them to choose from too.
So,
oh wow,
we're seeing increased extreme weather events, and there's like wildfires. And here in Austin, there was a massive snowstorm that turned the power off. I was actually in Austin for that snowstorm, in a house with no lights, no power, no heating, no internet.
Oof.
Couldn't actually even get to a food store. If you could get to a food store, there was no food there.
No
This went on for several
internet?
days.
Oh my God.
However, if we had the solar plus Powerwall, the car would have had lights and electricity, and actually if you had a Starlink internet, you'd have internet too. So
Streamed via Starlink,
all the
ladies and
things you need
gentlemen.
for a prepper, basically. If doomsday comes, yeah, it could be helpful. So in factory safety, we've made huge improvements on factory safety.
Good.
We're now 18% better than the industry average. So this is
Nice.
this is great. It's always tough with safety as you ramp the production lines and as you start up factories. But then once it's in steady state, then the injuries naturally decline because people get used to it and you iron out the issues. And so we're seeing
Wonderful.
excellent factory safety at Tesla. And our goal is to have the safest factory on Earth. And then AI Day, I think it was important to change the fundamental perception of Tesla, because people they sort of think of Tesla as a car company, and yes, we make cars, but the AI part of Tesla was not well understood. Tesla is as much a software company as it is a hardware company, and we also do the chips. So we designed the full self-driving inference computer. We're designing a training computer that's going to be able to, we think, be the most efficient neural net training computer in the world by far.
Software is the reason I love Tesla.
And we're seeing a tremendous response. So daily applicants by role. As you can see, it's basically, on the y-axis there. and then after AI Day, that's the AI applicants increased dramatically. So that was a very successful day. Team did a great job.
They got a lot more people wanting to work for them.
AI is going to be a very important part of the future. Self-driving is obviously one of the functions.
That's awesome. So many applicants.
I obviously have mixed thoughts about AI, and we've got to watch out for AI being a danger. But it's happening either way, so I guess if we do it, we can try our best to make sure it is positive, good AI, hopefully.
Good AI,
yeah.
Self-driving's good AI.
And then I'm excited to announce that we're moving our headquarters to Austin, Texas.
Hey, it's official.
Yeah.
They've done it. Okay, we got confirmation. Headquarters has been moved. It's been done. Now I want to know when the factory comes online. Please.
So just to be clear, though, we will be continuing to expand our activities in California. So this is not a matter of sort of Tesla leaving California. As I said, our intention is to actually increase output from Fremont and from Giga Nevada by 50%.
50?
So,
wow.
But we're just hitting the sides of the bowl. I mean, if you go to our Fremont factory, it is jammed. I mean, it is jammed. It's like, whoa.
I've been there.
And when we first went in there, it was like, we're like a kid in his parents' shoes. It was ridiculous, like tiny S and giant factory. And now we're like a spam in a can here. Like, how do we fit more stuff? And it's tough for people to afford houses, and a lot of people have to come in from far away, and so it's we'll take taking it as far as possible, but it's the there's a limit to how big you can scale in the Bay Area. So here in Austin, and our factory is like 5 minutes from the airport, 15 minutes from downtown, and we're going to create an ecological paradise here on the because we're right on the Colorado River. It's going to be great. So
I want to visit. I want to see it.
To emphasize gain, continuing to expand in California significantly, but even more so here in Texas. So with that, we can go to questions.
Can someone ask when the factory's supposed to turn on? That's all I want to know. Timeline.
Okay, so when will Cybertruck production begin, and at what rate will the ramp up happen?
First question, Cybertruck.
Well,
let's hear.
So this year has been just a constant struggle with parts supply. So just to be clear, if we had like 5 extra products, we would not change our vehicle output at all, because we were just basically limited by multiple supply chain shortages, like so many supply chain of so many types, not just chips. There were lots of supply chain shortages. So it really wouldn't matter if we had like the Semi or the Cybertruck or anything. We would just not be able to make it. And the Semi in particular needs a lot of cells. So it needs a lot of cells, a lot of chips, and so that will be, we got to have enough, otherwise it's pointless. So I think most likely what we'll see is Cybertruck start production end of next year, and then reach volume production in 2023. And hopefully we can also be producing the Semi and the new Roadster in 23 as well.
Everything's
in
23.
So we should be through our severe supply chain shortages in 23. I'm optimistic that will be the case.
Yeah, he's very optimistic.
Let's see, will we do a stock split?
Oh, come on.
Well, maybe not yet. Maybe we'll consider a stock split at some point in the future, but I think we'll
it's a dumb question.
Not quite do that quite yet. Next.
Find a good one.
Will we see 46.8 battery cell production in Texas? I don't think we will see 4680 production in Texas this year, but we are making 4680s in California at our pilot plant, which is a big plant by normal standards. It's like capable of 10 gigawatt hours a year. So it's just a mile away from our vehicle factory in Fremont. So it's basically that factory will be able to make more than enough cells for Giga Texas to scale production of Model Y.
When?
And
when's that happening?
I do want to emphasize, like, from the point at which a factory is able to start making cars to where it reaches high volume production is typically about a year, and that's considered very fast.
Is Texas starting with 4680?
It takes longer, or at least in Tesla land, it takes longer to build the factory than it does to reach volume production once the factory is built. So, like in Shanghai, we built the factory in 11 months, but to get to high volume production took about a year. And so I expect something similar here. You know, we'll start production this year, and we'll deliver. I'm confident we'll deliver some cars from Giga Texas this year for Model Ys, but we won't reach high volume production until probably the end of next year.
So he's saying deliver
but then
vehicles
I also expect
from
we'll
Texas.
reach high volume production, the 4680 cell here in Giga Texas next year as well.
Okay. Wow.
More factories. Man, it's hard to build a factory. Yeah, I've said many times that prototypes are easy, production is hard.
Oh, you said the Cato Road batteries would provide cells for Texas.
Or whatever, it's like 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. But I think for high volume production, it's like 99% perspiration. So, I think we might start scouting for locations next year, but I think we can do a lot with Berlin and Berlin and Austin, and expanding in China, and expanding in Fremont. So the nice thing is like having at least a factory in Europe and a factory in China, a factory in North America. We at least have factories where, for our high volume products, where that are on the continent where most of our customers are. This is great. So we do not, like one of the biggest challenges we had in Q3 was, can we get enough ships? Like there was a huge ship shortage. So that was a challenge. And that boat that got stuck in the the Suez Canal caused havoc. So, these things, you don't expect these things, but they happen. So, I don't know, we'll probably look at new factory locations, start to investigate them next year, maybe make a decision in 23.
Everything's happening in 23, for the record.
Does Tesla plan to offer dividends? We do not currently have plans for dividends.
What are these questions?
I do kind of feel like the time when a company offers dividends is, it's kind of cresting the hill,
Yeah,
if
I
you
agree.
will. It's usually not, they've run out of things to invest internally. We've not run out of things to invest in internally by a long shot.
Sure, yeah.
Can we provide a quarterly update on energy along with automotive? Yeah, I mean,
could we? Yes.
We need to make more progress on energy. This year has been limited. Like I said, the chip shortage, the same chips go into our stationary battery packs as in the cars, and we prioritize the cars. So, and we need the inverters for solar and that kind of thing. So, this year has not been a good guide for progress in energy. I think next year it will be probably a good guide, and we can start providing updates that I think people would interpret correctly, as opposed to, having to explain, well, we either had to short cars or energy, and we picked cars. So, all right.
You mean you shorted energy, not cars?
Yeah, Model 2 is not a car. There's no Model 2. The 3 means E.
Why was this a question?
We're Model 3. We try to we're going to call it the Model E, but then Ford threatened to sue us.
They should have just said 25K car.
Model 3, so it's S3XY instead of,
What a stupid question.
Anyway.
I wouldn't have phrased it that way.
Gigafactory is getting bigger with each iteration.
Ooh, that's an interesting
not
question.
all gigafactories will get bigger with each iteration, I think, but yeah, most of them will. They'll get more advanced and more efficient.
What's the max capacity target?
Looking at sort of taking a first principles approach to manufacturing, you want to look at the volumetric efficiency of a factory and the average speed of a factory. It's kind of like the rocket equation, where delta V is like exhaust velocity times the log of the start to end mass ratios. So I think it's something similar to that for a factory. And you can also think of it like a chip. Like, do you make chips, get more out of chips by making them bigger, or by bringing things closer together and increasing the clock speed? And actually, I think there's tremendous opportunity in factories to actually bring things closer together and increase the cycle time, or clock speed. And there's actually, I think, tremendous opportunity to improve the efficiency of factories. And Tesla's long-term competitive advantage will be manufacturing. Because all cars will be electric, eventually all cars will be autonomous. The thing that's the hardest to, I think, sort of match Tesla on or copy is manufacturing. And so I think that will be the long-term advantage of Tesla.
Fair enough.
Yeah, limiting factor to growth is engineering. Yeah, there's really not a factory stamping out amazing engineers.
Yeah.
So
that would be nice.
It's hard to, you've got to basically recruit people. You've got to train them in the right way, and this just takes time. And like sometimes companies think you could just hire anyone with an engineering degree, slap them together, and get amazing stuff. This is not the case at all. Often adding more engineers to a program makes it go slower. So, you know, and the excellence of an engineer matters tremendously. There are the huge differences in engineering talent that boggles the mind. But I do wonder today, like, if Nikola Tesla applied to Tesla, would we even give him an interview? I'm not sure we would.
Really?
You know, it was like, you know, we should, obviously.
Yeah.
So, you know, that does concern me. Like, I think we could do a better job of vetting resumes. And really, we're just looking for evidence of exceptional ability. Like, not whether somebody graduated from a particular school or whatever, but like just 3 bullet points, evidence of exceptional ability. And do you say, wow, after you read those 3 bullet points? Then great. That should be the approach. Okay.
Minibus fan. Oh my God. VW dropped the ball. These are like YouTube comments. Why are they looking at these?
I'm actually a big fan of the original VW sort of bus.
Uh-oh.
That was really cool.
Get ready for the headlines. People are going to take this comment.
I haven't really seen the new one, but
yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, I think over time Tesla will make basically, you know, all major variants of vehicle. Why not? You know.
What a boring way to answer that question.
Category, I think. Yeah.
Haven't seen the new one. I don't believe you. I've seen the memes you tweet. Solar roof progress seems to be slow. Oh, come on. They know. It's just limiting chips.
So I guess people can see these slides, right? So no need to read the question. Yeah, I think we're actually making rapid progress with solar roof. You know, solar in general and energy in general got kind of shortchanged for a couple of years there because we were desperately trying to make the Model 3 and reach volume production. So we just moved everyone from anywhere in the company that could possibly work on Model 3 was working on Model 3. It was all hands on deck, as you know. So there were just a couple of years where we just, you know, if we got to save, if Model 3 fails, the whole company's dead. So we're just going to move everyone from solar, from everywhere, to help with Model 3.
Wow, that's scary.
So we're a couple of years behind on that. But
Apple could have bought them.
I think we're now making rapid progress with the solar roof, and in particular with new home builders. Obviously, the most efficient way to get a solar roof is to put it on, put a roof on once, instead of, you know, like doing retrofit is obviously fundamentally more expensive than doing solar roof on new homes. So we now have relationships with a number of new home builders, and we expect those to gather significant momentum.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we're going to have a campaign which is kind of like, well, I'm dating myself here. I want my MTV. So I want my solar roof. Where is it? So, you know, I think we'll get people actively asking in new home developments, well, does it have a solar roof and a Powerwall? You know, because then, you know, you generate your own power, and you can help stabilize the rest of the grid.
That's how it works.
Powerwall.
Yep.
And we're doing this in partnership with utilities. Like, the thing that I think people need to appreciate is that there's a lot more electricity production that needs to occur as we move to an electric vehicle future.
Oh yeah, way more.
For 2 homes where both cars are electric, the electricity usage will approximately double. And so if you don't have local power production at the homes with a battery, because the battery's got to buffer the power, otherwise if you just have solar without batteries, it causes these massive waves in the grid, and so you have to have the batteries to stabilize the grid. But those batteries can then act collectively to stabilize the whole grid. And that's software that we've developed that is, I think, first going to go into use in Australia. That's going to be, I think, quite compelling. But
I've got family there.
You really need, for a sustainable energy future, you have to address electricity at the homeowner level. This is essential. But there will still be a very prosperous future for utilities because electric power will approximately double, and then if you transition heating to electric as well, it approximately triples.
Oh my God.
So this is a lot of work, both at the local level of electricity distribution and at the utilities. Utilities got to expand, and there's got to be solar and batteries at the homeowner level. But having a Tesla Solar with battery means that you have power no matter what. If the utility shuts you off or for any reason, you still have power. When I was here in the Austin blizzard, it's like I was staying at a friend's house, but he didn't have the solar roof and battery, so I'm sitting in the dark.
Is he really a friend
if
he doesn't have solar roof?
Okay, really brings home the need for the solar roof and battery. So anyway, so I think that's going to see, I think solar roof will see massive growth in the years to come. Yeah, the 10.2 is going out tomorrow night.
Who's asking? You can look this up.
Yeah. Anyway, this is too much inside baseball on FSD, but
inside baseball.
We're going to start rolling out the FSD beta to all customers with a perfect.
I want them to talk about the factory.
Record, tomorrow night at midnight California time, and then we'll see how that goes. And we want to be very cautious about the rollout. If that's looking good, then we'll, because there's like a little over 1,000 people that have a perfect score, then we'll start giving it to people with a 99, 90, 98, 97, and so forth. We'll probably have to have some cutoff, it's like 60%. I don't know. I don't know. But it's got to be. We're looking at people who are extremely conscientious drivers for the beta program. But it's looking really good. I actually drove here from the friend's house I'm staying at in Austin, which is quite far away and has quite a complicated drive. And the car took me all the way from my friend's house to the Gigafactory with no interventions. So perfect drive. Yeah.
Who is this friend Elon has that he has to sleep at his house? Perfect wife.
All right, are those all the questions?
No. When is the factory?
Audience?
When is the factory coming online?
Sure. Or you can just yell or whatever, I don't know. Hey.
Well, we can't hear them. I can't hear a thing.
When will we not need to do any more mining for batteries?
Okay.
Basically, it'll be a while because we've got to extend the fleet. So the fleet of cars out there is gigantic. There's about 2 billion cars and trucks in use in the world, and
all of them to have batteries.
So that's a lot. So annual global capacity for vehicles is 100 million a year, roughly.
Something about battery.
Which kind of makes sense. Like cars and trucks tend to last about 20 years before they go to the junkyard. So that's an important statistic to bear in mind. Like even if all vehicles were electric tomorrow, it would still take 20 years to change out the fleet.
So it's probably going to be
I think people don't,
100 years.
You see a lot of noise and sort of stories about electric vehicles, but the fleet is what matters. And still, it's basically rounds down to nothing. If you look at total fleet of vehicles on Earth, and electric cars at this point, I think, are still well under 1% of the fleet.
Oh, so, depression. That makes me sad.
I don't know, probably 30 years-ish, 30, 40 years. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah.
He thinks that can be done in 40.
Yeah, and I think...
I might live to see that.
Just to clarify a few things that are sometimes misunderstood out there.
When I'm 63.
Lithium is extremely plentiful. It is one of the most plentiful things on Earth. It is not rare at all. It's hard to avoid lithium. If you said, well, where can we dig a bunch of rock that doesn't have some lithium in it, you would have a hard time. It's in seawater. Basically lithium is a salt. So where is there salt? There's a little bit of salt pretty much everywhere. So it's lithium everywhere. So that's not an issue. Also, lithium is only like maybe 1 or 2% of the cell. And so the actual thing that matters is the cathode. Most of our, actually, our long-range vehicles use a nickel-based cathode, and sometimes people think it's a cobalt-based cathode. No, cobalt is used in phones and laptops, but we use nickel because nickel has higher energy density for our long-range vehicles.
What about
but for our standard range vehicles and for stationary storage, I think all of that will move to iron-based, iron cathodes. And iron is also extremely plentiful. Nickel is not rare, but there's, I don't know, maybe 10 to 100 times more iron than there is nickel. So, so moving to an iron.
I want to hear LFP Model 3.
Which is sort of finally at the point where it's competitive on range when combined with an efficient powertrain. I think that will be the vast majority of batteries in the future will be iron-based. So I do not see any shortages. It's just a question of making all the equipment to kind of process that into a cell and then into a pack.
I want updates on LFP. Come on, Elon. Okay.
Oh, off-planet factory. I like the way you think. So, how many years before Tesla's first off-planet factory?
Can we have real questions?
I mean, I'd like to see one before I'm dead. That would be cool. So I don't know, what have we got, like 40 years-ish? Hopefully before I'm dead, basically. That'd be great.
It's just a joke question. Ask about the factory you guys are in.
What's my safety score? Oh, great question. I don't know, actually.
69.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
He should have said 69.
I'll check because I think it's mine just got turned on.
It's like really low.
Yeah, good, I'll find out.
It's like 3.
By the way, our safety score calculation is obviously imperfect. That's why we try to emphasize very much that it is beta, if not alpha, in safety score calculation.
Yeah, it's very off right now.
So it's going to get a lot of changes. Expected to improve in its accuracy substantially over time. This is
it needs to.
Really just, it's a very early stage algorithm.
Very. When is the factory coming online?
Oh, is there anything we can do with the grid system here? In fact, Tesla is doing a number of projects in Texas. Tesla, Texas. We've got a large battery project, I believe, in the Houston area. Yeah, it's Houston area. Sorry? Yeah, we're doing 100 megawatts in the Houston area.
These people know the answer already.
We're talking to ERCOT about doing other major installations. The Tesla Megapack system is actually really great at dealing with power fluctuations. So if you look at power usage, it varies dramatically during the day. So you get, particularly on a summer day or a winter day, if you've got electric heating or electric cooling, then you're going to see big spikes on hot or cold days. So just even during the day, you see big variances, and then from when, like, in order for a power, if a power grid has no sort of energy storage buffer, then it's as resilient as the worst second of the worst day of the worst year. So this is that's obviously not great. And they'll throw peaker plants in there, but if the peaker plant is reliant on natural gas, and then people start using natural gas for heating, which is kind of what happened in Austin. People were using the gas to heat, then the peaker plants didn't have the gas. You're like, okay. But batteries would work great. So if there'd been Tesla megapacks here during the blizzard, the power would not have gone out.
Need more batteries at the end of the day.
Target capacity for the megapack factory. No, I don't actually know what the target capacity is, but it's big. Okay, 40 gigawatt hours.
It's big.
Actually, that's an example of where we are expanding. Also, we're expanding manufacturing in California. So this is in Lathrop, California. We just opened a big megapack production facility.
It's not only big, it's large. This was not a good
Sorry,
setup.
it's difficult to hear. Tesla insurance. Yeah, so
Subtitle.
The degree to which insurance is a regulatory labyrinth is insane. It was like designed to be hard. It's the feeling you got. I don't know if it's designed, but it certainly is very difficult. So there's a zillion applications, and you have to wait for a bunch of time and it's long and complicated, and a lot of it is state by state. Most of it is state by state. So we're processing applications in states across the country, and then the states also have different regulations, so you can't, actually aren't legally allowed to offer the same insurance in every state. So you got to adjust the software to be different in every state. It's very complicated.
Oh, that's annoying.
But I think we'll be offering it in Texas very soon, and maybe in a month or something.
What?
Next week. Great.
What?
Phone a friend. So Tesla Insurance goes live in Texas next week.
Oh, cool.
And
nice.
I knew it was this month, but and then we have it in California. We're going to be upgrading the version in California.
2 weeks.
In California, we want to have the same kind of real-time insurance where your insurance costs are based on your actual driving history, which is like the right way to do it. But we're currently not allowed to do that in California for some reason. So we're trying to get permission from the regulators to be allowed to give accurate scores for insurance. Seems like that's the thing you'd want to do. And then hopefully, I don't know, we'll probably have most of the country next year, aspirationally. That's our goal.
Which means not happening.
We're really getting into the weeds here. So we're definitely going to be making Cybertruck here, and so probably the ATV too. So the ATV is an interesting design challenge because ATVs are pretty dangerous, and so we want to make an ATV that is the least dangerous ATV. So if you're going to ATV, well, you might as well have the least dangerous ATV,
Whoa.
So it'll have a really low center of gravity because the battery pack will be down low, and
we got the Cyberquad
we
coming.
can do some things with the suspension. Just make it really hard to roll this thing, So
Cyberquad still happening.
ATVs roll is when bad things happen. So
Sweet.
It's gonna be the ATV that won't roll. So it'll be cool. You got to have one with a Cybertruck,
You got to.
Okay,
I flipped an ATV myself.
I'll take one last question.
When does the factory come online, please?
Oh, what about electric planes? Yeah. Well, we have a lot on our plate here.
We know what his
but
opinion
electric
is.
planes, I've been dying to do that for a decade, honestly. But we got quite a few fish to fry here. So maybe one day the electric plane. Battery energy density is improving every year, so that's an important metric to get the cell energy density to around 450, 500 watt-hours per kilogram, and have a pack efficiency of around 400 watt-hours per kilogram, that's when electric planes start to get interesting. So,
okay. That'll
I don't know,
come
it'll be a
eventually.
fun problem to work on at some point.
Fun problem.
But just we got a lot to do over the next few years, so we're going to focus on these things, get them right, and
ask
and
questions we
one
all
day do
heard.
that. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Thanks.
All right, that wraps it up. They're just applauding now. They're playing music. Oh, that's cool. I got to screenshot that. I like that that visual. Don't mess with Texas. Well, that was a pretty interesting event. Probably not as informative as I was hoping. I believe that's the end. I've turned off the music, but just in case there was a... Okay, I think they just ended it. Yeah, there it goes. Up next, Lucid Motors. Let's talk about that. Okay. So yeah, basic takeaways. Tesla Insurance is supposed to launch in Texas next week. They expect to increase production capacity at Fremont by another 50%, which is a lot more than I thought they would ever consider. I thought Fremont was kind of maxed out. Probably the biggest announcement, the main takeaway from this, which was not a shock, is that Tesla has officially now moved their headquarters. So they had talked about doing this before. Now it's been officially changed. So we now have confirmation from Tesla that the corporate offices are now in Texas. So that probably means they can start saving a ton on corporate tax rates like right away. Other big piece of news that I think a lot of people probably glanced over and didn't hear very well. Probably the best question, I didn't get my question answered, but the best question that was somewhat answered by Elon was, will 4680 batteries be produced from Texas this year? Elon Musk responded to that question saying, no, we're not going to have the 4680 production ready at Texas this year, but we are mass producing 10 gigawatt hours a year of 4680s from our Cato Road facility, which is in California, near the Fremont factory. I've seen the Cato Road facility myself. I've driven by it a dozen times now. And he said the Cato Road facility will be capable of supplying the 4680 cells for Texas, and they expect Giga Texas to deliver Model Ys by the end of this year to customers. So it's not just the factory will come online and start producing vehicles by the end of this year, but they actually said it will start delivering to customers by the end of this year. The reason I find that extremely interesting is because currently, if you order a long-range Model Y from Tesla, for those unaware, the current delivery window is April. Oh, it doesn't say it, but if I go in and I put in my zip code and all that, if you order a long-range Model Y right now, you won't get delivery until April. So I'm wondering if, briefly, Elon talked about during a previous earnings call, he briefly talked about there being a backup plan to use 2170 cells at Giga Texas if 4680s aren't ready. But based on his comments today, I have a feeling that they do have a fairly large stockpile of 4680s ready from the Cato Road facility, and they want to ship them over to Texas. And basically, the 10 gigawatt hour run rate that the Cato Road facility has right now will be enough to match the limited production of Giga Texas within the first few quarters. He said that they expect Giga Texas to start mass production of the 4680s by sometime next year, and that it takes around a year for a factory to kind of fully ramp up production. And he used Giga Shanghai as an example. So they built the factory in 11 months, but it took around 12 months before the vehicles were actually at like a high run rate of, 400,000 a year or so. So probably expect something similar with Texas. It's not going to instantly have a 500,000 a year run rate of production capacity. It's going to take some time for the suppliers to come in to check and hire enough people and get the factory up and running before you have extreme volume. But during those entry months in the end of this quarter and likely the first couple quarters of next year, that's when they'll be relying on 4680. The reason I'm excited about this is because I am most interested in the next generation batteries, because I know they'll be structural, and I know that the 4680s have been tested to last 1,000,000 miles, and that should come with some amazing weight savings, some energy density improvements, and that means higher range at a fair price point. I don't know what they want to start the prices of the Texas-made Model Ys, but I'm very, very curious now when the first 4680 Tesla will be delivered. Based on his comments today, it feels like end of this year, because I might have to go back and watch that portion of the event just to pay attention to the context. But the way I interpreted it, correct me if you interpreted it differently, the way I understood that is someone was like, will there be 4680s in Model Y built from Texas this year? And Elon said no, because the Cato Road facility can provide those cells for now, and Texas will deliver vehicles by the end of the year. So I took that as we're still going to get a 4680 Model Y by the end of the year, which I had kind of given up hope on. I'm not saying it's a confirmation. It's not 100% happening this year. It's possible that perhaps Elon intentionally doesn't want, maybe he was told specifically by the board members at Tesla, don't talk about Model Y with 4680 coming, because that's going to, well, on one hand, I was like, that's going to cause an Osborne effect, because no one would want to order a Tesla knowing that a new option was about to drop. But on the other hand, they're way too backordered as is anyway. So why would they care about the Osborne effect if your vehicles are backordered till April anyway? But I don't really get it. Yeah, there was really no update at the Cybertruck. I'm afraid people who were hoping for Cybertruck questions, answers, were probably expecting too much. Basically, what we know about the Cybertruck has remained unchanged. It's like the supply chain shortages from components, from steel, from batteries are kind of prohibiting them from being able to mass produce anything else. He did confirm they want to build the Cybertruck in Texas, and that they want to start production end of next year. So Cybertruck's last, Cybertruck's late, it's delayed, whatever you want to call it. It's going to take a while, but still, I personally think it'll be the best electric pickup truck on the market. It won't be able to touch. No important questions, was underwhelming. I feel like that's the general consensus after every Tesla event I have, but it's typically because us Tesla fans like to get our expectations way too high before every Tesla event. I still thought Battery Day was mind-blowing and exceeded my expectations, but after Battery Day happened, everyone was like, I thought there'd be more. It's not that exciting. So it happens with every event. You just kind of have to put your expectations in check before these things begin. Although I was really, really hoping that the reason they were having this event at Giga Texas was because they were going to announce Giga Texas is ready. It's starting production now. We're going to start taking orders for the 4680 Model Y. That's what I thought it was going to be, but that was probably too much wishful thinking. But I guess it makes sense that now that they've officially moved their headquarters, that's reason to have the event there. You got to have the annual shareholder meeting every year regardless. It said it was an all online presentation, but there was still a lot of people there. I was like, how do you get there? Any word on Semi? Basically, he said that right now with the component shortages they're facing, there's no point to bringing the Semi to market because they don't have the cells or the chips necessary. So they're hoping, I think he said we're hoping for production of Cybertruck, Semi, and the new Roadster. He even mentioned the new Roadster at this event, saying all of that they're hoping to bring into production by 2023, assuming there's no massive part supply shortages. So as much as we meme them for it and we joke about how Tesla is vaporware for not delivering this, or they're late on that, or they didn't deliver this and that kind of thing, I do think that fundamentally the company is focusing on what matters the most, because if you have a limited number of chips and a limited number of batteries, your best move is to mass produce your most profitable vehicle, which right now is the Model Y, thanks to all the gigapress and casting technology that goes into the rear underbody, and it gets to be sold at a much higher price than the Model 3, despite probably costing less to build than the Model 3. So if you're going to build a bunch of factories on several continents to lower your overall shipping costs, because when you have to ship cars on boats, that adds to the overall cost, that that's a problem. So if you're going to start building vehicles on all these different factories, it makes sense to start with the Model Y. I just hope that 4680s are in vehicles by the end of this year. That's kind of my last hope. I thought they were going to announce the launch of the nuke to Mars. When will they let existing solar owners get Powerwall again? I don't know. They're probably so backordered with Powerwalls and solar, it just makes more sense for them to sell them combined. As much as that sucks for the consumer, it just financially makes sense for them. Semi 2023, Cybertruck 2024, Roadster 2030. I would have thought the Cybertruck would have been prioritized first. Moo. But yeah, Tesla fans tend to hunt for the info anyway before anyone else. That's true. If you're following Tesla news, you're probably going to have a hard time being surprised or impressed by things because there's a lot of incorrect leaks that get out there and people get their expectations way, way too high. But I am very happy that the headquarters have been officially moved. It seems like it's a operational factory with a lot of people working there and living there. So I'm happy for them. I probably the news about Cato Road supplying batteries to Texas was the most interesting point of information for me. The headquarters moving was kind of what we already knew, so it doesn't blow my mind up. But I think that the 4680 Model Y, they probably want to be a sleeper. They don't want like a bunch of people not ordering just because they think that's going to happen soon, which is why, I don't know. Did it feel weird to you guys? Because to me, it felt bizarre that they didn't want to say when the factory was coming online. I felt like that would have been an obvious question, and people really should have asked that over like, is Tesla going to make a mini bus, or is what's the Model 2? You know, the stupid questions like that. I don't really understand why they addressed all those little things. When will there be a Tesla factory on Mars? It's stupid questions. I mean, they're interesting, but they're not obviously things Elon knows about or anybody can really predict at this point. Asking like, hey, the factory we're in that we're live streaming from now, when will this produce vehicles? That's a more near term, like, give us a ballpark. Like, I guess he said by the end of this year. So that means within the next couple months, I guess. But if we're that close, if he's saying by the end of this year and it's October 7th, I would have appreciated some kind of more specific timeline, like saying first vehicles will roll out end of this month or end of next month, or, you know, November 7th or something weird like that. I don't know. Let's see. Felt weird that they didn't mention Berlin coming online. That's supposed to happen before Texas. I haven't heard it's supposed to happen before Texas. I heard Texas was having to deal with a lot less paperwork and complications, so Texas was more likely to come online before Berlin was. Sorry for the occasional lag, but actually Starlink Internet has done a very, very good job with the live stream stability today. I've been live for over 2 hours now, and we've only had 0.4% frame drop, which is statistically, in my experience, that's very low. So shout out to Starlink Internet for being stable today. Thank you, Dishy McFlatface. Awesome. Not weird. Berlin is having their own party. Yeah, they have a fair event that people could buy tickets to. I think it's all sold out now, but yeah, I believe if you ask Tesla currently, both factories should be online by the end of this year, but not in high volume. It's going to start in low volume like any factory does, but still exciting because I want to know what kind of batteries these factories are using. Because if we find out that they're using 4680s, that's going to up the range, that's going to change the weight. That'll be a big factor. So I'm excited. I'm pumped. I guess I'm a little bit more hopeful for the 4680 Model Y at this point. Also, if these new factories have updated paint shops, then we might be looking at new colors soon. You know, Elon referenced the silver color on Twitter. Maybe we'll see some color revivals because these new factories are going to have next generation paint shops with, you know, micron precision with quality control and that kind of thing. So that's Tesla's true product, right? It's not the vehicle, it's the factory. It's the machine that builds the machine. So that has my attention. And of course, I've got more videos prepped between Rivian and the Cybertruck, and I've got a lot of stuff to work on. So I appreciate you guys watching it along with me, and of course, big shout out to Tesla for allowing me to react to these events. Not every company does, but they seem to be fine with it. So I appreciate Tesla being comfortable with me showing the stream and playing the audio, although I hope they can fix their audio next time so that it's not so quiet. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. More videos are coming soon, but I'll catch you guys in the next one, and hope you have an excellent rest of your day, all. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, before I leave, let me make sure I clean off the Dishy McFlatface. One sec.